never buy these types of houses. Today, I'm going to give you my take on the homes that I think you should never buy. I'm also going to tell you why. Now, understand some of these things that I list is not a true never. You should never, but depending on your situation, you maybe should never. Now, all of the reasons that I list today are going to fall within 5 main categories as to why I think you should never buy these types of homes. One is going to be that it's a money pit, and nobody likes a money pit. 2, resale value. Like, when the time comes for you to sell this home, is your purchase going to be considered a good investment? Number 3 is going to be health. Yeah, I have some health items in here. Number 4 is safety. And number 5 is sanity. Nobody wants to buy a home and be stressed out, whether it's with the home, with the area, but let me not give away too much. Let's get into it. Deferred maintenance or old systems. Now, while I specialize in new construction, I have sold many resale homes over the years. And I recently just did a short and it talked about when you're in these homes, not only are you looking around, you want to look up, because in this particular home, there was a protruding seam. So then I went upstairs to see if I could identify the cause, and I saw in the laundry room as well as the bathrooms, like the vinyl was pulled away. So I knew over time water had gotten in there. So as you're out looking at homes with your agent, you guys want to pay attention to things that you see in the house. Deferred maintenance can stick out like a sore thumb. Like if you see a ton of wood rot around a door, maybe the house just looks unkept. The air vents are just filthy and look like nobody has ever cleaned them, which leads me to think, well, what about the HVAC system? Like, have they maintained that? And then in regards to systems, make sure you're asking for, and if you have a good agent, they're going to provide you with the seller's property disclosure. You can check out this video where I explained more about that document, but this is a document where sellers are letting you know what they know about the house. In addition, there are questions on there like, how old is the AC? How old is the roof? When was the septic last pumped? It's asking those type of questions so you can have an idea before you even submit an offer, like what you may expect. For example, if the seller's property disclosure says that the roof is 20 years old, then you should expect that if you're purchasing this home during your ownership, you are going to have to replace the roof. That's where you need to talk with your agent about, okay, is the house priced right? Are we going to ask for more concessions? Can we come in lower? And it sounds easy to say, well, it's an older roof, we're going to come in lower, but it depends on what the market is in the area that you're looking in. Maybe the house is priced right because that's just what you're getting in the area and the price point that you're looking. So that's where you need to lean on your agent and you guys discuss and come up with a game plan prior to putting in an offer. And the reason why I have this on the never list is if you are somebody that does not have unlimited funds, you are trying to scrape and get it together to buy this home, you don't want to walk into a home that ends up becoming a money pit because the previous owner did not keep it up. So there's a lot of deferred maintenance and all these systems are older. So either you're gonna have problems with repair or you're gonna end up having to replace it. That's why this one is on the never list. Next up, old plumbing, electrical, or windows. There are some people that have this fascination with older homes, which is fine, provided that you have deep pockets. And why I say that is because it's very costly if you have to go into an older home and replace the plumbing, the electrical, like let's say if you're going old, like knob and tube wiring in a house, and I have never sold a house that old, but if we're going back there, or if there's poly pipes in the house, then that's going to be an issue. And then also windows. You may not think of windows. Windows are costly. You're going to spend several grand replacing all the windows in a home to new energy efficient windows. So just keep that in mind. I have that on the never list because again, if you are somebody that is, getting it together to buy this home and you want an older home, just know what it's going to come with, which leads me to the next one, which is a fixer-upper. Often I will hear people say, well, I want a fixer-upper. A lot of the times they think that way for one of two reasons. Either they like projects, so they feel like they can make it what they want it to be over time, or 2, their funds are limited, so their pick of the litter isn't very big. And the homes that are available in their price point is going to come with some work. So they're going towards the fixer-upper route. Oh, there's a third one. Or they just want to get a deal. Know that it's going to come with costs. Now, if you're somebody that has a GC in your family, maybe your spouse is handy and you can really get in there and do the fixing and it's cost effective for you because, you're not really paying out labor, then hey, this may be one that you want to consider. But I find a lot of the time that the people that I encounter that are asking about fixer-uppers, they are not those people. And I need to educate them on, okay, just know what comes along with that. And comes along with that, it could be later on down the line, or even to get approved for a loan. For example, if you're buying a fixer-upper and you're approved for an FHA loan, this house has to meet certain standards to even qualify to go FHA. So if FHA is your only option for buying a home, this house may not pass inspections. This house may not pass appraisal. And if you're working with a good agent, walking into it, sometimes even seeing the pictures online, they will already know, yeah, that's not gonna fly. This one has no flooring. This one is missing all smoke detectors. This one, the deck looks dilapidated. So you can already have an idea whether, I don't know if this one is gonna fly for you wanting to buy a fixer-upper and going FHA. Next up is house flips or homes owned by an LLC. That's gonna be a big indicator to know, is this a house flip? Some of these houses can look really nice to the eye. Like, man, it's an older home, but it looks so pretty. It's new paint. It's possibly staged. Maybe the fixtures look newer. But I need you to get in there with your binoculars. I have walked into flipped homes and I'm like, everybody does not need to be an investor. Everybody does not need to flip homes. Something as simple as you go to turn on the light and notice that they painted right over the light switch. They didn't take the time to take off the light switch cover, paint, and then put it back on. Other things, like I've seen counters that it like blocked an opening. So instead of doing it the right way, they like cut an opening. When you see janky stuff, even if it looks pretty, if you see signs that, yeah, if I could walk in and see signs and I can see it, imagine the things that I can't see. So I'm not saying all flipped properties are this way. All properties owned by an LLC are this way, but there is a high tendency, especially in the previous market where we were in, where homes were just going and investors could buy a home where they could just put in carpet and paint and they could make $100,000 plus. I'm not hating on them, but as my buyer, as somebody that's looking to buy the home, you want to make sure that, again, going back to one of the 5, it's not going to be a money pit. It's going to be good for you for resale. Your health is good, safety is good, and also your sanity. You won't have these issues that if you buy a home that is flipped or owned by an LLC. Another indicator that, hey, I might need to pass on this house is the investor did all the cosmetic things, but all the systems are old. So yeah, I'm buying pretty, the house looks good, but it may end up being a money pit because the major items, the big ticket items were replaced. Next up, still on the lines of an LLC, but I'm going to differentiate this. I'm going to say homes that are owned by Opendoor, Offerpad, and homes that have been long-term rentals. Why do I say that? Let me start with the long-term rental piece. This is gonna go back to the owner of the home. And sometimes it's not even LLC. It could be, just an individual, but this home has been a long-term rental. I need you to go in there with binoculars and look for this deferred maintenance. Are the systems replaced or is it just pretty? The likelihood of a home that's a long-term rental being properly cared for and maintained over time is not high because it wasn't the owner's primary property and it is what it is. Most renters don't treat a home that they're renting like their own. You don't want to buy somebody else's headache. Now for the Opendoor, Offerpad, Zillow's homes like this where the seller of the house just went straight to selling their home to these companies. Why I have this on the never list is because, and just sharing some insight with you guys, when somebody is looking to sell their home, yeah, it's for convenience. And I have videos on here, but you're paying just as much as you would, if not more, than working with the agent. But when sellers contact these companies, it's normally because aside from convenience, They know that their home isn't in market ready condition. They know it needs to be updated. They probably have a lot of deferred maintenance. The systems are probably older. So they know if they enter the open market, they're going to have a harder time. So they sell it to these companies of convenience where they don't have to do any showings. They don't have to do all of the things. And they're able to basically sell their house. Yes, they're going to be selling it for less than they would on the open market, but they're not really concerned with getting a higher price. They just want to get this property off of their hands. So now you have LLC company, the big name LLC companies that come in, buy this home, and some, if not most, are doing the minimum. There was a time where I would see, these companies come in and really fix up this house, but if you look at the previous listing and then the listing of when this LLC bought it, you're like, yeah, they really didn't do anything. They might have put in some carpet. Again, you have a seller that contacted them to get this house off their hands. And now this company turns around and sells it to you. Going back to number one, look at the deferred maintenance, look at the systems. If you don't have trust fund money, if you don't have long pocket money, this may not be a good investment to you. So this may be one that you want to pass. This next one is going to fall along the lines of Sanity. Also resale value. So it is buying a home amongst bad neighbors or unkept houses. Like when you are out looking, if you pull up somewhere, I need you to look at what's going on around you. I also need you to go back. Let's say you go in the day. I also need you to go back at night. I also need you to know that you like this area, the community is giving you, what you want to get out of a community. If you drive into a neighborhood and there is tons of on the street parking and you have to swerve between cars, those are already red flags right there. This isn't going to be the one. And I'm fine when I'm working with clients. If you already know that this ain't it, we don't even have to waste time going any further. Now, I do have to do my agent duties and either cancel the showing or, let the agent know why. Yeah, we don't need to go in here for 30 minutes to look at something that you really don't want. And another thing along these lines, I've had people contact me that they are in a community that they didn't know it was going to shape up the way it shaped up, which I did either a video or a short. And I talked about that, is it best being the first in a community? Because, and this is new construction that we're talking about, you don't know how this community is going to shape up. And that's exactly what happened to her. She got the neighbors and it's not just on one side, she got the neighbors and the community that she did not want. I'm going to say this also falls within areas and price points. So you want to have an idea of where you're moving, which I recommend when you are going to embark on the home buying process, that you identify the areas that you want to be in and do your due diligence looking online. Do not rely or come to your agent and ask, well, how is this neighborhood? Well, what's the crime like? Agents cannot answer those questions for you. It can be a violation of fair housing. So you should be doing that research and looking on your own. The next one, it's going to sound funny, but I'm serious. Never buy a home that was a trap house. And if you don't know what a trap house is, bless your soul. Okay. I'm going to break it down for you. A trap house was a drug house where either they sold drugs out of or drugs were used there. I guess it's more so there's obvious reasons why I say you should never buy this house unless you are an investor but I'm talking to the homeowner. The more so because of the safety aspect of it. And in the video that I did on the seller's property disclosure, there is a question on the seller's property disclosure that asks, has meth ever been manufactured in this house? And I'm like, how common is this problem to where they had to actually put this on a form for sellers to fill out? That's concerning. And if you're not sure why that even matters, is because there's actually safety issues that can come from, whatever cooking of the thing staying in the walls and can affect the house long term and affect the occupants long term. So I think that's an obvious one of why I say never buy that house. Next up, houses near a retention pond. Now keep in mind, I said retention. There is a difference between a retention and a detention pond. And people are more common with the retention part, but there is a difference. And the main difference is that the retention pond is meant to hold water in it permanently, while a detention pond is meant to temporarily store water. Now, I will tell you, when my husband and I purchased the house that we're in now, have been there for the last 8 years, we selected a lot that was directly across from a detention pond. And it was a benefit to me because while I couldn't get a bigger lot, it just wasn't available. At least it makes me feel like I kind of have a bigger lot in a sense because I don't have any neighbors in front of me. So to me, I saw that as an asset, and it's a detention pond. This pond may fill up with water 2-3 times a year if we have heavy rain. And I say fill up, it's really not fill up, but you will see water, standing water in there. And then within a couple of days, it drains. No issue. Why I say the retention pond piece, and again, it depends on the area and the community. If the retention pond is holding water, is it still clean? Is it still, or is it one, because I've seen ones where like trash is in there like that. So you don't want to live by that. That's not good for your resale value. So this is not a blanket, never buy a house near a retention pond. It's like, what is the condition? What is the state of this retention pond? Because there can be some pluses just depending. Next up, never buy a house on a septic system. Now, this is something that I go over in my home buyers consultation. I always ask my buyers, like, how you feel about septic systems. Normally, either people are indifferent, they're familiar with septic systems, or it's like, no, I don't want to be on a septic system.
No, God, please, no.
And then I have to do some educating because some areas in Georgia, even new construction areas, because the lots tend to be bigger, are coming on a septic system. So I put this one here, again, depending on your situation and then also the home that you are buying. So if you look at that seller's property disclosure, that video again that explains it, and it says, seller, when was the last time that you serviced the septic system? And the seller has been living there for 20 years and puts never. Okay, that's a red flag, right? Now I know I have heard of people being on septic systems and never pumping, never servicing, and never having any issues. However, I feel like that's rare, and I also don't want my buyer to bank on that. I want to make sure that the septic, this is a resale house, that the septic gets inspected and the septic gets pumped before they actually purchase the home. Because again, why? You can have issues with this and it can end up being a money pit, and I don't want you to experience that. I'll never forget when I started in real estate, I overheard another agent talking to a seller for a home that her buyer put an offer in. And she literally said, so you want my client to pump your clients? And I'm like, she got a good point. You mean to tell me you lived there for 10 years or however long, 3 years, 4, however long you lived there, but you don't want to pump it. You want to try to put that on the buyer. No, that's not going on around here with me as your agent. So just keep that in mind. That's something to be aware of. Next up, never buy a home that has like funky additions or remodels. Like you walked in and you know that no licensed professional did this work. Or I've been in homes that it looked like a maze. Like you went through one door and then that door went around a corner and it opened up to like an additional room or maybe a bathroom, and the sink is like right in front of the toilet. It just looks like Uncle Jethro or Uncle Tyrone did these renovations. I just don't know that that's something that you want to take on. If it is, just make sure you get a good inspector out there to, take a look at what was done. And just know, if it's something that's really, really unique, maybe when you go to sell it, it may not appeal to the greatest majority, so it may stay on the market a little longer. However, again, it may make sense depending on your budget, price point, and what's going on in the market. These last two, I'm going to wrap up into one, and I'm going to put them on a never list. And I'm only going to put them on the never list because when I talk to buyers and what they're looking for in a home, normally these two come up as, yeah, I really don't want that. And one is they really don't want a house that's surrounded by a lot of trees. We have all heard the stories of trees falling here and there. Now, it can be a benefit to give you added privacy, and maybe the trees are further away from the house, but there are some areas where the trees are literally surrounding the house, and they're normally bigger trees. So stay away from that, because for the resale purpose, that doesn't appeal to a lot of people. And then also, homes that are on busy roads, that's also not very appealing to a lot of people. So just think about that when it comes to resale. So that's my list. I know it was lengthy. Drop down below any comments, any thoughts that you have on any of the ones that I mentioned, or if there's anything that I forgot that I should have added, drop it down below. And as always, if you are looking to relocate to Georgia, move within Georgia, you want to buy a Georgia new home or a new home in Georgia, let's talk. Schedule with me on my Calendly. The link will be right here. And also check out this website if you want to search new homes meeting your criteria right now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please give this video a thumbs up. Again, drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts, and share this video with someone that you may know that's in the home buying process. Have a positive, peaceful, and productive day.